Guys, welcome to another episode of If the Song Make Art Easy. We are just coming back for one of our weekend spies. If you are just joining us, you've not missed out much. Do well to hit the subscribe button to get notified on our latest video. Watch our previous video to be able to follow up on the process of learn archiCAD from A to Z as a beginner. On our last video, I promised you guys that we're going to be teaching you how to dimension, how to do your elevations. Lastly, how to organize your sheets to be able to present to clients. So today we'll be taking start on those. First of all, we'll be learning how to dimension. In our last videos, we did justice to learning how to draft. So we're not able to touch all other sectors which are dimensioning. So I'll be taking this dimension involved. If you watch all our previous videos, you'll be able to know how to draft up to this extent to be able to have your doors, your windows, and your block wall as organized as this. So now we'll be dimensioning. Then after dimensioning, we'll be moving to our roof. After our roof, then we talk about elevations, how to prepare your sheets ready for your elevations and your plan. Now let's get started. We'll be working on dimension, which is the last among all the components we have on our left toolbar. It is actually the first in that document. This is dimension. There are serious ways to dimension, but the basic reason why we dimension is to show the length, breadth, width, and all the measurements of the building. You can just basically just dimension your work by showing the distance of each room size. But for a proper detailed working drawing, you need to work with theory lines to show. You could just have a dimension like this. Let's say for example, like this. And basically, you could call it dimension. But to address it as a working drawing, you need to go as far as to identify the size of the square meters within the space to be able to know quantities of materials to go into the space, as far as to dimension the height of the tiles within some of the spaces. So basically, if you are to dimension this work properly, you need to create three lines to show the distance of the spaces in between, number one, to show the distance of the windows, and lastly, to show the total distance. So let's say this is the first line showing the space in between. All you need to do, let me just go naturally to take you through the process. After clicking your dimension here, on archiCAD is on default, but when you have some specifications on how you want to do it, like the size of the, the test, the colors of the test, you use your Ctrl T for more options, and you get to see and play around it. For example, I'll answer most of the questions when you have difficulties with it. But let's go naturally and just dimension. So when you click on the design, if you have any challenges due to you encounter any difficulties, do well to drop your challenges on the comment section so as for us to treat it on weekend side. So after clicking your dimension, you OK, you just see a very sharp precision on it. You just press for OK, then you go to the next one, you press for OK, go to the other one, like that, like that, like that, down to the very last block wall. Then you come out of it, you press your right click, then you go to OK, you press your OK, then you drag it out far off from the block wall. Now you have one. This is one of the lines that are essential. You need to dimension in such a way that you have three. This is the first one showing all the spacing in between the walls, all the partition walls. And the next one helps when you are doing site supervision to know the placement of your windows. You go as far as to dimension the distance between each space. Click on one, click on the starting point of the window, click on the last part of the window, then you go to the next window, like that, you do that, till you get to the last part, you get to the last part, just exactly as I'm doing it. It's not really easy, but create two straight lines to dimension all the external walls. You do one horizontally like this and one vertically like this. The next week, for example, we'll be able to dimension the four corners like this and like this downward and like this downward. You will notice on this particular space now, on this particular space, you could tell from here to here, you could tell from here to here as series 450. You could tell from here to here. You could tell from here to here, but you can't tell in between this space. So that's why after doing the four corners, I didn't continue this one, but this is the perfect way to dimension. After doing the dimensioning of the four corners, you need to go as far as to dimension some specific space in between. So it's best you do a straight horizontal line in between and a straight vertical line. In some cases you could do two, but I prefer on this particular one you do two horizontal and two vertical so you get to see how best it should be to dimension using this technique I'm showing you. So now you could tell the space in between. For the sake of time, I'm going to just dimension the four corners using the same pattern I taught you. On this corner, you have one, two, three lines. Same thing here, one, two, three. This is what I mean by overlap. As you can see, this WC is overlapping doors, on this door angle. So what you need to do is to reduce the size to your convenience. That's better like this. Something like this still better overlap. When after printed, you can't really tell dimension, so you can easily do something to make it more creative by rotating. Control E is to rotate, Control E is to rotate, or letter C, Control D, drag and move it above. Okay, so for more precision, you need to stick to more dimension routine. There are other ways to actually work on detailing as to make your sheet very busy. The essence is to make it more easy for other professionals to be able to read, understand the message you are passing. Let's take for instance, you want to make your work more uniform. You have WC with this size and this WC is very small. You can actually use other means to represent this WC. Like you come to your design, you come to your objects, you have your WC on default. archiCAD has a lot you can actually download to add to it. Then you press OK and you input have it here, then you rotate. By me looking at this, you could tell this is the WC which is better as a water closet. If it's here, you don't need to label or you don't need to name this space as a WC. Let's say for example you want to go more advanced, but for the beginners this is the best way to actually call or this is the best way to actually represent the plan and say the plan is in dimensions. I think the best way. Well, to be more advanced, you can actually increase how well you busy. For beginners, this is the best way to actually present your building plan as a working drawing to show clients all the initial sizes of the space are well organized and are well detailed. But to be more advanced, you could go as far as to communicate to other professionals within the construction industry by letting them know specific the specific height of your floor. For example, from this place, which is the entrance to this space, you have a riser of 150. You could go as far as to say, okay, plus, okay, let's make shift 100 plus 150. Then let's change the color so it's more aggressive. Let's use a little bit of orange, okay, orange, and reduce the size to 2. There you go. Control D, Control D, track back. Then, by me looking at this, it's very easy for the tiler or the floor personnel to be able to tell that when you come in from this place in the entrance, you need to step up with 150 riser to this place. Then, when you do something like this, let's say minus 200, then you're not having this step down parallel or two steps for 150 each for the risers. Because some of all those detailing and all those specifications can be done on other sheets when you cut your step. So more of our videos you'll be able to see how best to utilize some of all these key points to make your work more advanced and more professional. But for the beginners, stop at this. Do well to comment your questions to enhance us to more on Weekend Spice. So now if you've gotten up to this stage, congratulations, you just been able to know how best to dimension them. That moves us to the next stage, which is our roof. Okay, welcome guys. For our roof, we have different types of roof. We have our cable roof, we have our parapet roof, we have our flat roof, we have our butterfly roof. We have series of roof types. But on this particular video, we'll be working on our hip roof. Our hip roof is one of the very common roofs we have in Nigeria. But the roof actually affects the aesthetics, the functionality, and the choice of roof matters a whole lot. Because of the topography or the climate of some areas, people tend to go for flat roof, people tend to go for very high hip pitch roof for usually what it is for to create more emphasis on their building structures. You can have that commonly around places like Abuja where you have really, 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 really high roof. So for us to actually do that, we need to come to our design. In our design, we have our roof. When you open your roof, the options for the roof appears automatically on the top, on our top surface system interface. Then this is for the flat roof, and this is for the hip roof. All you need is to click the edges in which you want your roof to be. Just do something, to the roof, click on the spanner. When you mistakenly press a point that is not the actual point you want, you hold your backspace bar and then you could recorrect it. Backspace. So on your keypad, then you continue. Okay, there you have it. Let's see how it is. I'm actually going to take you through the tutorials with this particular design and not this, so you won't be confused. The same thing. This particular one now, this is the roof, this is how it is on default. For you to now adjust it to be more pleasant, you need to click the roof. You can click it here or you can click it on the plan here like this. Use your Control T for more options. Then this is the precise way to do the settings. Okay, this particular one, you reduce this to 75. Come on this middle point. Then you go to, as the name implies, this is the obsession offset from the block wall to the SS part of the roof. I use the word SS part, mind you. Put it at 600. then the model of the roof, which is the textures. We have like this, and have this is still not giving shaft, so you can change that here. Yes, the middle. The name is okay for it. Yes, have it. So if you are to go by that same settings here, you have this. You have this window. But because we are using Parapet, oh sorry, one more thing I forget to tell you. On the very onset of this video, I told you about line, our viewing line. You could add more to it. You have more viewing points. But these four are more essential than any other ones. To add more to make your work more complex. Imagine you are doing your section, this is where you go to add. So let's drag this. We're now moving to the next phase of the lesson, which is the equation. Control D, because we just talked about the roof. Control D, drag it up to this point. We'll be using this to talk about the elevation. Okay, now we have our nodes. It's overlapping, so we'll drag it back. Do that on our worksheet. Then now, how best to view all the four elevations? We're now moving from this left toolbar we'll be working on to our right toolbar. On this right toolbar, you see your stories. You could use, there's a shortcut for it, Control Up to go to the other story. But if you don't use your Control Up or your Control Down to access other stories, you could come here and say your first and second. Then down to your elevation. Once this angle is facing any material or object or anything is facing and it's reflected as south. Once you click on your south, everything that it faces you are going to actually see. If you have something like this and you can't see, you zoom out. After zooming out, you can't see, you just come here to press this and you have it like this. So now it's very easy for us to adjust here. Control D, and there you have it. We need to input our power. On the last weekend slide, we talked about our power page. So if you have any challenge in trying to understand how to do that, you better go watch that video and click the subscribe button for more notifications for videos like that. So we'll come to our custom, we'll look for our PPA that we named it the last time. Then we press our OK. Now we'll create our parapet. Now we have our parapet on set. Control G. Very cool. So automatically, if you've gotten up to this extent, then you just successfully learned how to dimension, how to do your roof, and lastly, how to do your elevations. Because if all these your angles are positioned, all these your viewing points are positioned like this, then once you click on your south, you have your south elevation. Once you click on your east, you have your east elevation. Mind you, it's to view everything that it sees on that east. So all these should be deleted because this is your east. So if I'm viewing like this, everything within this point I'll see. So I need to take this out because I just use this to take you through a very quick one on how to use and how to navigate around your roof and marking out all the external walls. Then if you look at it now, it's out. Okay. In our next videos, we'll be taking you guys through the process on how to do your title panel, inputting your client details, inputting your details, how to plot to PDF file to be able to print, and so much more. So do well to hit the subscribe buttons to be notified on videos like this. All your questions, drop them in the comment section so as to have more interesting videos on our weekend style. See you.